think I'm crazy. I'm the fool. Okay, watch how this shit pan out. And we really gonna see who really the fucking won.
Hey, bro, man, you be relevant, and I said what I said, bro. You need a like.
Everybody see YoungBoy ain't mess with nobody. The boy doing his thing. But NLE Choppa, instead of him doing his own thing, he said, you know what, I'm gonna attack this man. I'm gonna mess with him.
NLE Choppa jumped into the spotlight swinging hard with a fiery diss track aimed straight at NBA YoungBoy. The video had wild dance moves, actors that looked just like the real deal, and name drops that had fans saying he was acting out on camera. But instead of matching that loud energy, YoungBoy played it cool, ice cold. He dropped a few calm, half-mumbled bars like he was just brushing dust off his shirt, basically telling Choppa, you don't even deserve a full reply. That move hit way deeper than any long diss could. Imagine someone throwing every punch they can think of at you, putting their heart into it, and you answer like you barely care. That's the ultimate I'm on another level move. But before we dive into YoungBoy's slick response, we gotta rewind a bit because this drama didn't just appear out of nowhere. This tension been simmering for a long time. People keep acting like the beef just popped up overnight, but the roots run deep. The energy been off for years. And even after that cool response, YoungBoy still threw another slick line, just enough to let everyone know he wasn't done. Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like, two former associates turning into rivals. Back in 2016, YoungBoy was that rising star out of Baton Rouge, making waves with 38 Baby while still early in his career.
Don't know though. You hear me? Y'all don't know that boy in trouble. Y'all don't know that boy in trouble. Y'all don't know that boy in trouble, but I do, nigga. I do, nigga. And y'all think I'm crazy. I'm the fool. Okay, watch how this pan out, and we gonna really see who really the fool, and we really gonna see who really the one. Wipe that spit off your face.
He was inspiring young artists everywhere with his raw grind and signature flow. One of those artists, watching from the sidelines, was a teen from Memphis named Bryson Potts, the same guy the world now knows as NLE Choppa. Back in the day, Choppa was just hooping, freestyling with his crew, and locking in on YoungBoy's style like it was a masterclass. Every time YoungBoy dropped a new track, Choppa was studying, not just vibing to it, but really taking notes and learning the game. That's the part people like to skip over. Choppa wasn't just influenced by YoungBoy, he was following the formula like it was a blueprint. He wasn't just inspired, he was straight up channeling YoungBoy's whole energy, and the similarities were impossible to ignore right from the start. Even their rap names sounded like they came out of the same playbook. NBA YoungBoy repping Never Broke Again, and Choppa coming with No Love Entertainment before flipping it to NLE. The branding alone had fans doing double takes. Both came up young and hungry out the South, pushing that same raw, street-rooted sound. Choppa even started remixing some of YoungBoy's songs early in his grind, almost like paying tribute without saying it out loud. He dropped Through the Rain, echoing YoungBoy's Through the Storm, and later remade Drawing Symbols in his own lane, following the same steps but trying to carve his own name.
Everybody see YoungBoy ain't mess with nobody. The boy doing his thing. But NLE Choppa, instead of him doing his own thing, he said, you know what, I'm gonna attack this man. I'm gonna mess with him.
When Shot of Flow hit the internet in 2019, the web went wild. Fans flooded the comments, pointing out how Choppa's look, tone, and energy reminded them of YoungBoy. Every post turned into a full debate about whether it was homage or imitation, and that noise only pushed the spotlight brighter. Choppa kept saying over and over, YoungBoy my favorite rapper, I'm just trying to rock with YoungBoy, trying to keep the peace and cool things down. But by that point, the tension had already spilled into the streets, and the vibe between them wasn't the same anymore. From YoungBoy's side, it felt like the respect had already been crossed. And when one artist is already established while another is still climbing, that kind of moment can flip the whole dynamic fast. Things really got tricky when Choppa started connecting with people who had long-standing issues with YoungBoy's camp out in Louisiana, especially when he linked up with Fredo Bang for Gangsta Talk. That collab had the internet spinning because Fredo and YoungBoy had a known rivalry for years. Fans online claimed Choppa slipped in a few sneaky coded lines that sounded aimed at YoungBoy, while Fredo threw in bars that mentioned YoungBoy's late associate, Big Dump. The whole track set the social media on fire, with people saying Choppa had officially picked a side, even though he never said it directly. Then it got even messier when Choppa started dating YoungBoy's ex, Young Blasian. That move doubled the internet's reaction. People were cracking jokes, saying Choppa was trying harder to follow in YoungBoy's footsteps, even in his love life. And when that one live stream moment hit where Choppa played YoungBoy's Uncharted Love, Blasian instantly got upset and ended the stream right there. The real turning point came in January 2022, when things between YoungBoy, Lil Durk, and King Von had the whole hip-hop scene buzzing. DJ Academics dropped a tweet saying, "YoungBoy on serious timing right now," and Lil Reese quickly clapped back saying, "That's not real pressure, he's just rapping like everybody else." That's when Choppa jumped in and commented, "I stamped that," letting everyone know he was rocking with the Chicago side instead of staying neutral. That one comment lit up the internet. Fans instantly caught on to the shift. Not long after, YoungBoy dropped his track, I Know, and the energy in that record sent chills through the scene. Not because it was aggressive, but because it was cold, haunting, and full of emotion. YoungBoy used this eerie tone, singing with that icy calm that made every lyric sound personal, like he was aiming straight at Choppa's emotions. He touched on family, fear, and deep emotional pain in a way that felt more like a psychological statement than a typical diss. Instead of trying to sound tough, YoungBoy's delivery hit different. It felt like a message wrapped in heartbreak and betrayal.
He opened the track with some of the coldest bars fans had ever heard, bringing up how Choppa's mind would be devastated if things ever went sideways. He mentioned him more than once, not just as his mom, but as his manager and someone close to him. And to make it even more emotional, he referenced that moment when Choppa once said, "YoungBoy, my favorite rapper." Then, YoungBoy flipped the message into a warning, telling Choppa, "Stay in your own lane." And that line alone had the internet frozen. The hook was what really stopped people in their tracks. YoungBoy sang in that chilling, eerie tone, talking about taking someone's energy and saying Choppa's mind would be in tears if anything ever went down. The delivery had this dark, cinematic vibe, like something straight out of a suspense movie. Even though the track was built on melody and emotion, YoungBoy didn't let up. He brought up that phase when Choppa was all about healthy living, herbs, and spiritual energy back in 2020, flipping it into something he could tease him about. Fans caught every line, and the internet was dissecting each word like detectives. He even slid in a reference to the young Blasian situation, brushing it off like it didn't bother him at all, saying Choppa could have her, like it was nothing. That made the tension between them even heavier, because it sounded cold and dismissive. But the line that shook the entire rap world was when YoungBoy dropped a subtle mention tied to King Von's passing. Not directly, but just enough for people to connect the dots. Fans instantly noticed the reference, and it hit hard because it touched on something tied to real-life loss. That's when the whole thing crossed into deeper, darker territory, making everyone question just how serious this feud had become. This wasn't just two artists throwing shots. This was Memphis versus Baton Rouge energy colliding on a whole new level. Memphis has always been known for that raw, unfiltered street sound. From 3-6 Mafia to Yo Gotti to Moneybagg Yo, a sound born straight from real-life struggle that turned into global influence. Baton Rouge, on the flip side, had YoungBoy standing at the center of his wave, carrying his whole city on his back like no one before him. So when Choppa, repping Memphis, started getting compared to YoungBoy early in his come-up, it turned into something way deeper than just rap tension. It became about pride, identity, and culture. Fans started accusing Choppa of copying that Baton Rouge flavor instead of standing on his own Memphis roots. And that hit hard, because Memphis got a legacy all his own. Rich history, raw talent, and a sound that changed hip-hop. Instead of people saying Choppa was lifting the Memphis torch higher, social media kept tagging him as a Baton Rouge copy, and that label only stirred up the heat even more. It wasn't just about music anymore. It was about hometown loyalty and who was truly representing their city the loudest. And that's not even counting the business side, something people barely mention. Behind the scenes, labels, marketing teams, fan bases, and rollout strategies all played their part, shaping how both artists were seen and who the industry decided to spotlight at different times. YoungBoy dropped a wild claim on his track Top Version, saying he actually owns a piece of United Masters, the same distributor NLE Choppa uses for his No Love Entertainment label. That line alone sent shockwaves through the industry. If there's even a hint of truth to that, it means YoungBoy could be earning from Choppa's success behind the curtain, and that hits totally different when two artists are already locked in tension. Then things got even messier when Choppa started getting close with Lil Durk and the OTF crew. That wasn't just a casual collab, that was a move with deep layers. By stepping into that circle, Choppa entered one of the biggest rivalries hip-hop has seen in years, a situation loaded with history, loyalty, and industry politics. From YoungBoy's side, that felt like betrayal, especially since Choppa had once called him one of his favorite rappers. Fast forward to now,
Choppa finally snapped back with a full-on diss track, and he went in all in like he was shooting a blockbuster. The video was packed with flashy dance routines, YoungBoy lookalikes, intense scenes, and over-the-top production, clearly made to shake the internet and get everyone talking. Every frame was designed to grab attention with sharp lines and bold name drops, and had fans rewinding just to catch it all. But this is where things flipped again. Instead of giving Choppa the big dramatic response he was chasing, YoungBoy hit back with zero IQ freestyle, just a short track, only a few quick bars aimed his way, mixed in with random verses about other topics. The way he delivered it made it sound like he barely even cared. Calm, half-focused, almost dismissive, as if he was saying, "You ain't really worth a full response." YoungBoy dropped lines like, "You ain't really slime, you ain't really G," and "He never stepped on nothing for real." But the way he said it was what really caught people's attention. His tone was calm, laid back, almost like he was talking about someone he barely remembered. He didn't even build the track around the disses. He just sprinkled them in between other bars, like it was nothing major, like another day in the booth. And that title, Zero IQ, felt like its own shot. It came off like YoungBoy was clowning Choppa for not being sharp enough to go toe-to-toe with, adding a quiet sting to the whole situation. The message couldn't have been any clearer. Choppa came out swinging with a big-budget, choreographed diss, and YoungBoy brushed it off like a minor nuisance. That contrast alone had the internet lit up with reactions. Then there was that moment in the track when YoungBoy said, "Baby girl, I'm sorry, I got a low IQ," and fans swore it sounded like he was mocking Choppa, as if to say, "Look how easy it is to get a rise out of you." That subtle jab turned into one of the most talked about moments from the record. But what really made YoungBoy's response stand out was how he chose to present it visually. The video kicked off raw and unfiltered. No fancy filters, no overproduction, just YoungBoy in his own space, looking completely unbothered. As the track went on, the visuals slowly sharpened. The lighting got cleaner, the camera steadier, almost like a quiet flex, showing that he could polish things up anytime he wanted to, but still didn't care enough to go all in. It really looked like YoungBoy just hit record, dropped a few bars, and walked off. Meanwhile, Choppa looked like he spent days plotting, shooting, and editing his whole response like a major music video rollout. That difference alone had everyone talking online, because the contrast was wild. Choppa came with heavy effort, while YoungBoy pulled off that effortless cool that made it all look too easy.
So how did Choppa react after that? In several clips that started floating around online, he sounded fired up, saying things like, "Y'all don't know, that boy in trouble. Y'all don't know, that boy in trouble, but I do. And y'all think I'm crazy? I'm the fool? Okay, watch how this pan out." His tone made it clear he was ready to turn things up a notch, trying to raise the energy and make it sound serious. But here's the truth. When you drop a high-effort diss track full of visuals, choreography, and a whole rollout, and the other person responds with just a few relaxed bars on a freestyle, the internet usually decides who won right there. YoungBoy treated the whole situation like it was minor background noise, and that calm reaction spoke volumes, showing he wasn't stressing it at all. Choppa's reaction made it obvious he was frustrated that he didn't get the big back and forth he wanted. He probably expected YoungBoy to come back with a full track, go bar for bar, and turn the beef into a huge viral moment, something that would keep both of their names trending. Now it seems like Choppa's trying to force a bigger reaction since the natural one didn't hit the way he hoped. From a strategy point of view, YoungBoy's move was pure genius, because sometimes the most powerful clapback is silence. In the rap world, ignoring a loud diss can sting way more than answering it with full aggression. The biggest form of disrespect isn't always shouting back, it's acting like the other person isn't even worth your energy. YoungBoy's been through serious conflicts before, with huge names like Lil Durk, the late King Von, and others. So the fact that he gave Choppa only a few calm, low-effort bars spoke volumes. It's like when someone's trying hard to argue with you, but you just hit them with one-word replies. That kind of calm, unbothered energy can hit harder than any loud comeback ever could. What YoungBoy was really saying between the lines was, you don't get the full diss track you chasing. You haven't earned that kind of attention. And that quiet confidence cut deeper than any direct insult. It wasn't just dismissive, it was psychological.
because Choppa's been working for years to prove he belongs on YoungBoy's level. And when YoungBoy gives him a half-hearted response, it feels like a reminder that he's still not viewed as an equal. That's the kind of moment that stings for any artist, the "you not there yet" energy that no one wants to face. And when you mix that with where YoungBoy's at in his life right now, juggling major industry pressure, legal troubles, and long stretches of isolation, it adds even more weight. YoungBoy's been juggling more than just music. He's been locked in major public feuds while trying to hold on to his spot as one of the biggest names in the game. On top of that, he's been dealing with legal pressures and trying to stay grounded, which means his focus has shifted big time. From YoungBoy's perspective, Choppa probably just looks like another artist trying to use his name for attention, and he's seen that play out way too many times before. Plenty of riser rappers have tried stirring things up with him just to boost their visibility, so YoungBoy choosing not to give Choppa a full-blown response is actually his way of breaking that pattern. He's not letting anyone pull him into a cycle that doesn't benefit him. Plus, lately, YoungBoy's been all about his family, his business ventures, and staying clear of anything that could add more stress or problems to his life. Getting caught up in a full-on rap conflict with Choppa does nothing for him. It's not worth his time when he's already building something bigger. After all, Choppa once looked up to him, called him an influence, and now it just seems like he's chasing clout through controversy. From a strategic point of view, YoungBoy's response was smart and controlled. No extra drama, no flashy one-liners meant to go viral, just enough to make a point. He didn't give Choppa any quotable bars that could be flipped into another track or meme-worthy moment for the internet to run with. Instead, he gave the minimum, enough to acknowledge the situation without ever pulling Choppa up to his level or turn it into a full back and forth. The few bars he did drop felt icy, not loud or angry, just calm and cutting. That calm, cold energy from YoungBoy hit harder than any loud threat could ever do, because it made the whole situation look completely one-sided. Watching how fans reacted online was wild. YoungBoy's supporters were saying his response was the ultimate power move. Quiet, dismissive, and totally denying Choppa the attention he was clearly hoping for on Twitter and Instagram. YoungBoy's fans were having a field day, dropping laughing emojis, cracking jokes, and saying stuff like, "YoungBoy really said who?" Basically clowning Choppa for getting ignored by the very person he was trying to get a rise out of. The general vibe from YoungBoy's fan base was clear. This wasn't just a casual response, it was a strategic one. He acknowledged the diss just enough to show he heard it, but not enough to elevate his rival's name. They felt like YoungBoy handled it perfectly, staying cool, keeping his composure, and refusing to drop a full diss track because in his eyes, Choppa simply wasn't worth that kind of attention. To them, that restraint screamed confidence. Meanwhile, Choppa's supporters were feeling the sting. They had expected a heated back and forth that could have put their guy in the brightest spotlight, but instead, they got silence and a shrug. For Choppa's side, that silence hit like a gut punch. It felt like YoungBoy just brushed them off, treating the whole thing like it was a small distraction instead of a serious clash. That's a tough pill for any fan base to swallow, especially when the hype was building for something big. Some Choppa fans tried spinning the story online, saying YoungBoy was too scared to fully jump into it. But that doesn't really line up with his track record. YoungBoy's faced way bigger names and handled way tougher situations before, so calling him scared just doesn't stick. When you look at his track record, the internet might be loud with debates, but the proof is all there. He's been through plenty of high-pressure moments and never folded.
So where does that leave things now? Choppa's standing at a real crossroads. He's got to decide whether to keep pushing his back and forth or recognize the message YoungBoy just sent, loud and clear without even shouting it. If Choppa keeps dropping diss tracks, he risks looking like he's chasing YoungBoy's attention instead of building his own lane. But if he goes quiet, people might say he backed down, and that can hit any artist's proud heart in the rap world. The smartest move for Choppa right now will be to flip this whole thing into motivation. Take it as a lesson and pour that energy into his own career. He's got skills, a loyal fan base, and a growing name. He doesn't need YoungBoy's shadow to shine. If he locks back in on himself, he could turn this into a real comeback moment. As for YoungBoy, he made his stance crystal clear. He's not treating this as a serious feud, and he's definitely not giving Choppa the big spotlight he's looking for. That alone shows how strategic he's moving, because why boost someone who's been trying to ride your wave since day one when you can just keep moving forward like nothing happened? This whole moment perfectly highlights the gap between an artist who's already established and one who's still trying to cement his spot in the game. YoungBoy's done proving himself. His legacy and influence on the new generation are already locked in, and every move he makes now just reinforces that power. YoungBoy's numbers speak for themselves. His streams stay sky high every month, his fan base is massive, and he survives situations that could have stopped most artists in their tracks, all without ever losing momentum. Meanwhile, Choppa, even with bangers like Shot of Flow and a handful of platinum plaques, is still grinding for that long-term respect in the rap game. The fact that he felt the need to diss YoungBoy in the first place shows he's still trying to break free from those constant comparisons people keep throwing his way. And YoungBoy's move, or really his decision not to move much at all, just made that contrast louder. His half-effort reply, or lack thereof, put the spotlight back on the imbalance between them. This whole back and forth might end up being a defining chapter for both of them, but in totally different ways. For YoungBoy, it proves he's leveled up mentally, thinking smart and not letting himself get dragged into drama that doesn't benefit him. For Choppa, it's a moment of reflection, a reminder of how the internet ranks him when these situations pop off. At the end of the day, this might go down as one of the coldest non-responses in rap history. YoungBoy basically said, "You're not worth my full attention," without ever needing to raise his voice or drop a full track. That calm, confident dismissal hit harder than any aggressive comeback could, because it didn't just reject Choppa's diss, it stripped away his power in the moment, making the whole thing feel one-sided. Choppa clearly wanted a full-blown lyrical showdown, a back-and-forth, bar-for-bar clash that could light up the culture and boost his spotlight. But YoungBoy brushed it off like a tiny annoyance, never giving it the energy Choppa expected. And the fact that Choppa's now popping up on camera sounding heated, saying YoungBoy's in trouble, just shows how frustrated he really is about not getting the big reaction he was hoping for. This whole situation turned into the perfect example of how to handle someone trying to use your name to get a boost. Instead of feeding into it, you hit them with the bare minimum, just enough to let them know you heard it, but never enough to lift them up to your level. That's real chess, not checkers, and YoungBoy played it smooth, calm, and calculated. He didn't need to shout or post nonstop to prove anything. His silence said it all. That kind of self-control is something a lot of artists struggle to master, but YoungBoy made it look effortless. Now, before we wrap this up, if you're loving these deep dive breakdowns, make sure you lock in with the fam. Turn on those notifications and hit that subscribe button, because Rap Uncovered stays bringing the real. The culture never sleeps, and there's always another story waiting to drop. We've got more heat coming, more stories, more behind-the-scenes drama, and way more truth about what's really happening in the industry. Tomorrow's upload is about to go even deeper, crazier, and more eye-opening than this one. So go ahead, smash that like button, share this video with your crew, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think about this whole Choppa and YoungBoy situation. Stay locked in with Scandal Scope, where we break down the moves, the mind games, and the real stories behind hip-hop's biggest moments, because this is where the truth of the game lives.